Hello, everyone. Welcome to my home, which is where everyone else probably is also at the moment. I'm very happy to have the opportunity to be able to do this and to speak to you, play for you, answer your questions. I don't know what. I can say for one moment, I was asked very nicely by the Violin channel to suggest a foundation to donate to. So I suggested the two foundations that support the organization I work in, the West Eastern Divan Orchestra. And not only that, but they support the West Eastern Divan Orchestra, the Barenboim Said Academy, as well as the school in the West Bank in Ramallah, with all the same ideas that are behind the West Eastern Divan. So, you know, they all need a lot of help. They need instruments, for example. So if you have something to spare, which I don't know if you do, then this is the place to do it, I suppose. Also, if you want to really do something good for the world now, the best thing to do is to stay home and wash your hands all the time. That's apparently the thing to do at the moment. So I will look at a few of the questions that are popping up here. If there are any. There are not any, actually, if I could see correctly. No. Okay, then I just played the Recitativo and Scherzo Caprice by Kreisler that he wrote for solo violin. Usually most of his music is written for violin with piano or whatever. This is the only piece he wrote just for violin alone, and he dedicated it to his colleague, Eugène Ysaye, who was also a great violinist and a great composer. The next piece I was going to play in this what is this, a concert, a show, whatever it is, was the Allemande from Ysaye's fourth sonata, which incidentally he dedicated to Kreisler, so returning the favor, if you will. I think, just quickly, I think Kreisler is a very important personality for our instrument, not only because he was a great violinist, obviously he was, everyone knows it and has heard it, but because of his interest for composition and for also exploring old styles and things like this. I get the feeling that his playing also aged extremely well, and it's always a refreshing experience to listen to him play really anything by himself or by other composers. Always a great joy. So yeah, that's mainly why I chose to play his piece and the piece dedicated to him. So I will play the Allemande now for the first time for myself, by the way, and then we'll see if there are any questions or comments or complaints or anything that you might want to speak about. So that was Ysaye's Allemande from the fourth sonata, the normally follows the Allemande and the Presto Finale, that again he dedicated to Fritz Kreisler, which also is supposed to reflect his interest for older music that Ysaye also had, obviously, and trying to use this similar things that he knows from his playing. Yeah, now I will look at the comments to see if there's anything that I have to answer. Or one of them says, "Who is this?" Okay, this may be not not so urgent. One question: how I'm managing this special situation at home with the family. This is a very interesting question. So, as for most of all of you as well, the schools are closed, the restaurants are closed, the bars are closed, the concert halls are closed, the theaters are closed. Everything is closed except for the supermarkets, the pharmacies, and thank God, the hospitals. So we have two small children, a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old. We try to cope as best as we can. We try to do with them the things that the school also does with them. They're also learning instruments. The older boy is doing cello, and the younger girl, the 3.5-year-old, actually started doing violin. So I try to spend some time doing that with them as well. Mainly, it's getting through the day somehow, and see how the situation develops. To be honest, I think I speak here for everyone that I've never experienced anything remotely like this before. So I think we're all just trying to cope with this situation. We're at home with the family. We also really follow the guidelines that the government is proposing, which is really to stay at home and only go outside if it's really necessary. For example, to buy food. So this I do. Otherwise, we're really at home, and it's a situation of such magnitude that it's very hard to describe. To imagine even just a month ago that all the concerts would be canceled, this was already a big deal. But now it's gone much further than that. So people, musicians all over the world are, I think, a bit struggling with the situation, some more and some less. For the freelance musicians amongst us, I know the situation is really difficult, and I know that the German government is trying to help. I don't know how other governments are dealing with the situation, but it's for some of them really dramatic. We depend on events with people, which is now forbidden. So it's of course a bit difficult. But I hope that the situation will soon be somewhat better, and that we can return to actually meeting other people. So that was this. But the question came from Florence Atkinson, by the way. If I just wanted to mention, is there anything else that anyone wanted to ask? No, this was there was will you perform live with other musicians who are also confined at home? Now this is a very good question by Hélène Mignon-Albous. Actually it's a good question because it's very difficult to answer. So the point of social distancing is that we all that we are all home, each one with the people that they live with, and that we don't mix with other people, because the virus would then spread much easier. So I'm a bit torn with this. I think that it's, on one hand, it's very hard not to make music with other musicians. On the other hand, again, it's we're supposed to not have these kind of interactions. Of course, it doesn't mean that I won't do it, and I really look forward to making music with some of my colleagues very soon. But for the moment, I think it's really all about sticking to the guidelines, trying to stay healthy. Yeah, these things, as sad as it is for us, musicians are usually very sociable people that like to make music with other people, even spend time with other people, all these things that we're not supposed to be doing. Now we get to spend a lot of our time, speaking to them virtually, I suppose, with our smartphones and computers. But it's not the same thing, as you all probably realize. And what can you do? It's a pandemic is a very serious situation. A lot of people are infected. A lot of people are dying. We have to really take it seriously. We have to be disciplined with this. A few, I don't know how long. A few weeks. I hope a few weeks, and then hopefully it will be more or less under control. But that's the answer to this very difficult question. Then Paul Brancato asks, I'm enjoying this concert at my home in Oakland. Hello, Oakland. I have a question. How do you play chordal sections cleanly with the left-hand fingers? That's another very good question. So the question is with the intervals being sometimes a bit uncomfortable in the left hand, especially fifths and augmented fourths. It helps to think of the position of the elbow. Sometimes you have to come out a little bit more, I feel, to really get for example, for augmented fourths like this one, you really have to come out quite a lot more, so you can place the fourth finger on the G string as cleanly as possible, and the third finger just right under it on the D string. That's one piece of advice I can give you. Otherwise, it's really also a little bit luck, to be honest. With fifths like this one, all these fifths, you have to you have to feel a little bit where the placement of the finger could be the best, and then you just have to try to train yourself. I think that's the best advice I can give for this. It's hard, yeah. I know it's hard. That's why it's such a good question. We have our first office meeting on Zoom app tomorrow. We're all learning. Okay, Zoom is, yeah, I've had the meetings on Zoom. It's fine. You get to see everyone, and it's after the first few minutes of getting used to the situation that you can't all speak at the same time and things like this, and it all looks a bit strange, but you get used to it, and it's a good tool, I guess, if you have to discuss work things with your colleagues, and you can do it from home. This is exactly the moment to do this. So I think it's a good idea. It's a little bit. It takes a bit getting used to, but you will see that it's not also the most difficult thing. Yeah, Zoom meetings. It's tiring after a while, I find, because you're always looking at the screen. But since you're probably all working from home as much as possible, the Zoom meetings are going to be more frequent and become a more standard thing. And I have a feeling that a lot of people will realize after this how much they can actually work from home and not go to an office, because it's really with technology nowadays you can do so many things that yeah. So that's nice. Zoom. Okay, let's see if I can find one or two more things. I think that's it. Apart from who is this, I think that's enough. Yeah. Okay. That was very nice. It was nice to interact with all of you. I'm going to play a little bit of Bach to finish off. I wish you all the best. Hoping that everyone stays healthy, and that the situation again, that it hopefully soon gets better. So I played the Largo from the third sonata, the sonata in C major, and then I will bid you farewell.